Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Rob with Smirking Gun Reviews, and today on Essential Film Series, this episode is on the movie Waiting. This Essential Film Series, though, comes with kind of a addendum to it, or like the main reason that this is an essential film for me, for everybody, is to understand customer service and to understand serving. If you haven't seen this movie, it's a great way to understand what goes on in the service industry and what we go through. I spent the better part of my life, all my 20s and into my 30s. I started when I was 19 and stopped when I was about 32. For the most part of my life, I was waiting tables, bartending, all that stuff. And nobody ever really did anything as far as movie-wise to like show what it's like. And then I think, I've never seen it, but I heard the Slammin' Salmon's got a lot of good stuff about waiting tables as well. But this came out and I was really excited about it because it looked like they were going to really tell the story. And for the most part, they really do, because I've always felt, I think I was only in customer service and waiting tables for maybe a couple of years before I was like, everybody that at some point has to work customer service for like 3 months or even just a month, I think, depending on the job, you will understand what it's like to take care of people, because it's not easy. And this movie, it doesn't have some overall point to it. Just like the name of their restaurant, Shenanigans, this is a shenanigans type movie. You get this little thing with Justin Long whining about, his future, which is something that's true about anybody, and not just people that wait on tables. But it is something that you think about when you're waiting tables, especially if you do it for quite a long time, like I did, where you go, what am I doing? Why am I still doing this? But this movie, as far as the way it goes in a lot of restaurants, is really accurate. There is one major thing, and I've looked it up, and I was wondering what other people had said about this movie, and you'd think I would have looked this up a long time ago, but the whole thing with the food is one of the most inaccurate things, because it's a movie. This would be the thing that if Joe Q Public goes and watches this or has seen it, I would be terrified to eat in a kitchen, at any restaurant in a kitchen. I'd be afraid to eat at any restaurant, because if you're one of those dum-dums who sees what they, think is like a satire on like this kind of industry, you're gonna think, oh my God, what do they do to our food? Well, let me tell you something. I'm sure that over the course of the years, plenty has been done to people's food, but not in the way that they make it look here. We all bitch and moan and cuss and fucking curse the goddamn world about our customers sometimes. But nobody really messes with the food, because there are lines that we draw. Now, I'm sure, absolutely, there are exceptions to this rule where there's some pretty shitty people that have fucked with people's food. But there's just that unspoken line where we will curse your name. We will wish you bodily harm. We will hope that, if you've treated us poorly, that bad things happen to you outside of the business. But we won't mess with your food, okay? We wouldn't mind seeing you get struck by lightning. But those are acts of God. We don't want to actually play a part in it. So we won't, people just dropping food on the floor on purpose and even if on accident, we won't put it back on the plate. The whole just gross things that they decide to do because they don't like you. People may not like you as a customer, but we will not do that. That just as a standard doesn't happen all the time. Now, this game that they play, where the guys like to show each other's junk. Look, a lot of weird shit goes down in restaurants, but I have never seen anything like that, ever. Again, is it out of the realm of impossibility that is based on something that actually happened? I guess anything is possible. But look, guys don't like to show anybody our junk. I don't know what kind of like what kind of frat house mentality came up with that joke in this movie, but as a general rule, guys aren't like keyed up to like show each other their balls and dick just so that they can like call each other fags and kick them in each other in the ass and stuff. That's just, like I said, this is a shenanigans movie. Now, like, and all these people are kind of like, they separate each personality up as like a stereotype of different servers. A lot of these people would have the same like habits and personality quirks about serving in one person. They just spread it out over a group of people. It's like, there's your person that's like this, there's the person that's like that. No, like, you can have the hot waitress who also flirts with all her tables, but then goes in the back and curses and swears and hates the job and hates the people, and also, like, I don't know, has like, you know, self-conscious issues. Like they've kind of, or like smarmy like him. There's like, no person is just one thing. And so they kind of spread it out over the course of, you know, over the cast. And it is a good cast, but it definitely is 2005 versions of these people. I mean, we all know Ryan Reynolds. This is definitely 2005 Ryan Reynolds. I'd say that this is 2005 Anna Faris, but Anna Faris hasn't really changed as far as an actress goes. Justin Long, you know, he's done some other things, but I still feel like maybe he's a little still Justin Long. Luis Guzman is in this, and he's great. Him and Jordan Ladd, that cooks and hot girls and servers or bartenders, it happens. Just, I've never seen it like that far of a discrepancy as far as attractiveness goes to restaurant work. And I loved how David Koechner in this is like the most restrained version of David Koechner I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's really accurate to how a lot of managers are. One of my managers, like at my very first restaurant job, he left his wife and kids for a waitress. Like, and it blew my mind. Like, I couldn't believe it. That also is like a thing. Like, I can't count how many managers broke the dating policy to just bang the hell out of every girl that they could get their hands on at a job. I remember managers, you'd give them an application and they would ask how hot the girl was before they cared about anything on there. And I felt like it got to a point where I was like, Jesus Christ, I don't even want to talk to you about these guys. Like, I actually wouldn't even bring them applications if I thought that this guy, you know, that this poor girl is about to be inundated with sexual harassment. And I was waiting tables in the 90s and the early 2000s, and like sexual harassment, man, you never, like, so much, it's probably still goes on, but like these days, you know, people are way more, you know, have to be way more careful about how they acted. And back then, man, it was like a free-for-all. And it's kind of like this in this movie. Like, there are guys like him that are just can't wait to bang the underage girls. It is like just everybody just getting passed around. Girls getting passed around by the guys. Like, you'd think that the girls were in on it, but they're really, it's crazy. The whole hanging out thing is one of the most accurate things. Like, when you work in a restaurant for a long period of time, whether it's, you know, and if you're in the same town and you guys like work at different restaurants, you know, a lot of people like end up working together at different restaurants all the time, and you kind of all hang out. You're kind of like a family, and you get drunk and smoke pot and this is where all the sex and everything comes in, and that's really accurate. And then all the drama that goes with that. So like the people with their relationships that blow up and it gets all crazy and shit, and it really is like that. A lot of stuff in here is exaggerated for effect, of course. You know, you get the rednecks in this movie that ask for ketchup for their steak. That happens, and that's kind of universal. The steak with ketchup thing. I mean, hey, if that's what you like, fine. The whole following somebody out to give them their money back because you didn't think they gave you enough tip. that's also almost like an urban legend. It happens every once in a blue moon. It's like, you know, it almost never happens. Nobody chases down a customer, hardly. I mean, seriously, you have a better chance at seeing a unicorn than have somebody chasing down a customer. It has to be, that person has to be at their breaking point and have a, you know, a problem already, like where they just snap. I think in all my years of waiting tables, I think I saw it happen once, where somebody followed somebody out and gave the customer back their money, and they quit. They didn't wait to get fired. They were just like, fuck this. And the whole like coincidence that the thing happens at the end, like in the middle and the end of this movie where the guy gives him $100 tip is supposed to be like, I don't know, have meaning to it, but it really doesn't in this movie. It just, if you like the character, you know that that's his arc. The bitchy ladies at the foretop in this movie, spoilers by the way, if you haven't seen this movie, I don't know. There's plenty of times where that is true, how these kind of ladies act, looking for a reason. People that come back to restaurants, like if you hear in that line where she's like, we've been here a bunch of times and, you know, the food's always bad, and it's like, that is so true, because you have to ask yourself, why do you keep coming back if we keep disappointing you? And it's almost like people want to be disappointed. But in the scene where she ordered, I was more interested in the fact that this business table at lunchtime ordered a steak. That to me was like the most inaccurate thing at that scene, because I don't remember any time where a lady ordered a steak at lunch, like on their lunch break. It's usually like a soup salad kind of thing, like maybe a sandwich. And that was the thing that I lasered in on there. Not the fact that she was a bitch, but that that she ordered a steak. And they did get the whole lunchtime, dinner time thing right too. Like when it's dead and during the day and you got a bunch of people on, you might as well not be there. You're not going to make any money. There are people, like every person in here, that like flirt with their tables to get money, that sit down and have jokes, you know, that get, you know, money. You got people that are like Justin Long that just kind of do their thing and they do okay. I felt like that was kind of more like me, where I just tried to do my best and didn't make a stink about it. I didn't have to have a big personality to make a lot of money waiting tables. Naomi, though, is kind of like all of us at one point or another, unless you have a high restraint. There is at least one moment where a server in their life will have those moments where you're just cussing under your breath. Like, you want this fucking sundae? Give me this fucking sundae, you fucking piece of shit. And then just go right out the door with a smile on your face, like you can instantly turn it on and off. And so, yeah, the Calvin character, with him not being able to pee, I thought like he was the only one that didn't really have anything to do with like the actual movie. Like as far as being a server, he didn't really have a thing, except everybody knows, well, not everybody, but like a lot of people probably know that person at work that's like, feels like, you know, everybody tells him he's too nice and that's why he doesn't do well with girls and stuff like that. He's kind of a pushover and works for people because they hope they'll, like, you know, just so that maybe they'll like him. There's that. You know, I definitely, I'm sure over the course of my career, I probably tried to help somebody out because I had a crush on them. But like, it's all just, the whole thought of like managers, how a server becomes a manager, that's true. People do not look highly on people that get promoted a lot of times, because there is that thing where you become management, and it's hard enough being a server, but when you see somebody become from a server to a manager, it's not even like they're making more, like they might not even be making more money than you. It's just that when suddenly somebody goes from being like an equal to over you, and that's a lot of jobs. That's a lot of jobs where that happens. The guys in the kitchen are just disgusting, but to such an exaggerated rate that it becomes a little unbelievable, and that's fine, because again, shenanigans. I've seen a lot of dirtbags in the kitchen, and there's a and it's like there's a reason they're in the kitchen, because and it's shitty to say this, but that's the way they do their hiring a lot of times. is that, you know, you could go in going, hey, I'd like to be a server, but if the manager goes, like, they're going to segregate you. They're going to put you where they think you know, they want you. And if you're a kind of like, I don't know, it just seemed like there was a certain type of guy that was in the kitchen. And it's a working class type, not like they all were like some bunch of ogres or anything. It's just, you didn't usually see, you know, somebody who looked like Captain America working the grill too often, is all I'm saying. And I'm not Brad Pitt, but I also was like, I didn't want anything to do with the kitchen. But that's neither here nor there. As far as this movie's jokes and comedy, well, this movie was in 2005, and it has Andy Milonakis in it, and this movie made me realize how much I hated Andy Milonakis, that little fucking nobody prick. Little shitbird. Oh my God. And I was like, yeah, this is so 2005 because they needed to get that stupid ass, you know, Andy, well, who's a big thing right now? Andy Milonakis. Okay, let's put him in the movie. Oh God, every time he was on screen, I just wanted to punch myself in the face. But a lot of the comedy just is based on, if you've been in this industry, you find it funny. A lot of this is really not for general audiences. That's why I think they had to put in all that stuff about dropping food and other things like that you'd either cringe at or laugh at. Because the jokes in it are just like a lot of insult comedy and body humor. And so if you were into that, you were gonna get your jokes on. But for the most part, it is for people in the customer service industry, and there's a hell of a lot of us. A hell of a lot of us. So I can understand why this movie works on that level. If this is your favorite movie, more power to you. It's not a great movie. It's not going to change your life, but it is something that if you do want to look at this little microcosm that is the customer service restaurant industry, like I said, it is pretty accurate. And I always get a tickle out of watching it because it makes me realize how I never, ever want to have to serve tables ever again. Because it's not easy. It is not an easy job. And like just to finish up, let's see. He doesn't learn anything. If anything, all he learned is that I need to not bang 17-year-olds. I have to wait till they're 18. So, yeah, and they say fag a lot in this, which is, you know, it's only 13 years ago. And nowadays, like, you say something like that in the right context or the wrong context, you know what I mean? Like in misunderstood context or whatever. You know, you're going to get fucking killed. Not metaphorically, usually. You know, like, if you say that stuff on, like, social media and things like that, you're going to get torn to shreds. I mean, you almost never see that in a movie or TV show anymore, unless it is unless your show or movie takes place in a time period where that was acceptable to say. I wish that there was a little bit more of other people in this movie. Like, I still think Dane Cook kind of gets a bad rap, I think. Yeah, he came out in that time period and he was really famous in that time period, and he's like a kind of a college frat guy thing, but he is actually a funny comedian. And he's actually a funny guy, you know, no matter what, I think. There are some, you know, like Luis Guzman is in this and he's good. Chi McBride, or however you say, he's good in this. Caitlin Doubleday, I wish there was more of her in this. That girl, whew, she looks pretty good. Sorry, I'm going to be a guy for a second, say damn. And Jordan Ladd. So anyway, this is dated too. This is dated, and I can't believe how dated it is for like being 13 years old. You'd think it'd be still pretty current. And as far as like, I don't know how, like, since I haven't waited on a table since, you know, like 11 years. Wait, no. Yeah, like 11 or 12 years. I have a feeling that it hasn't changed that much. But I even had to look up like the dating policies of my the last place I worked at, and when I saw that the dating policies were managers can't date servers. Wow. Okay. Well, that shows how little corporate was paying attention to my store, because those two managers that I worked with, they went through so many girls. So, and I'm just telling you right now, if that still goes on, man, beware of these guys, because they're the scummiest of the scum, man. Anyway, that's it. I expect to get as many negative as positive comments on this, because A lot of people are going to disagree with me about this, but look, like I said, I waited on tables for about 13, 14 years, and it is really accurate, again, except for the food. So anyway, that's it. I did want to make this video before I get other videos out. I've been sitting on this one for a while. As you can see, I had a lot to say about it at like 20 minutes in. So anyway, if you liked this video, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think about this, about your serving stories and stuff like that. If the food shit, if you saw bad shit happen in your kitchen, post it on a comment. If you had people that wanted to whip out their cocks, tell me about that story. Just if it sounds unbelievable, I'm going to call you out on it. But otherwise, this is Robin Smirking Gun Reviews saying we'll see you on the next video, and have a great day. Bye.